Data protection and privacy teams are under more pressure than ever with new laws, AI oversight, data breaches, and the constant expectation to do more with fewer resources.
That's why TrustArc built a modern privacy and data protection management platform powered by Arc Intelligence. It unifies your tools, automates the work that slows you down, and surfaces what matters most right when you need it.
From guided quick actions to our intelligent assistant, Ask Arc, you get credible, contextual answers backed by expert research, not generic AI guesses.
Finally, privacy that works the way privacy pros work.
Learn how TrustArc helps teams move faster with confidence at trustarc.com/serious-privacy. That's trustarc.com/serious-privacy.
You're listening to Serious Privacy, powered by TrustArc. Here are your hosts, Paul Breitbart, Ralph O'Brien, and Dr. Kay Royal.
My name's Kay Royal. I am here today with Joe Jones, and welcome to Serious Privacy. So, Joe, absolutely delighted to have you on our show. We bumped into each other, I believe, at the London IAPP.
Yeah, about a year ago, I think. Yeah, probably.
And had an absolute delight hog-tying people, not really hog-tying them, I guess waylaying them would be more accurate, in the lobby to see what hot topics they wanted to talk about. Before we get into introducing you, we're going to do the unexpected question. And then, you know what? Should I do it in that order? No, let's go ahead and introduce you first. Joe Jones with IAPP. Joe, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do with IAPP. I have a feeling most of our fans know who you are.
Oh, well, that's very kind, and it's very kind of you to have me on. I'm excited and I'm anxious in equal measure to be on, especially because you foreshadowed an unexpected question. Previewed, I'm Joe Jones. I'm the Director of Research and Insight at the IAPP. I'm based here on the East Coast of the United States, up in the northerly climes of the Arctic, New Hampshire.
Oh, God, we got snow coming down right now. I'm in South Carolina.
Oh, my gosh. Wow. Yeah, we've got snow, ice, sleet, all of it. But as you've probably detected from my accent, I'm from Old England, not New England, and I made the transfer over here coming up to 2 years ago now.
Oh, wow. Is that all? Just 2 years?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Welcome to the U.S. and the fun times.
Thank you, I think.
Yeah, say, get over Brexit, right? Just a trade-off there.
There is a closing of the scenario going on here, I think.
Could be. Okay, unexpected question. What are you most afraid of?
Oh my gosh. Most. I don't know if I've ever done a ranking of them all. But one thing that I'm not scared of heights at the extreme.
Okay.
But I'm actually quite scared of heights where I think I'll just hurt myself a little bit. So not hurt myself, certainly okay in a crane, but if I might just sprain an ankle or hurt my lower back or break an arm, I'm really scared of those heights. So you won't ever catch me on a ladder.
You're not scared of the heights. You're scared of the landing.
I'm scared of a little bit of pain. I'm scared of a little bit of pain. Not a pain. That's not okay. I'm not asking you for that. But a little bit of pain, I'm quite scared of.
You're not. Oh, I don't blame you for that one. I really don't. For myself, it is, and I found out there is a word for this, nyctophobia. I have an extreme fear of the dark.
Oh, wow.
And not like walking at night out in the woods because you got the stars and the moon and everything. But if I was in a room and the electricity went out, if it doesn't come back on in 2 seconds, I'm in full-blown panic attack.
Wow. And at nighttime, do you invest in night lights and the like?
Oh, yes. Night lights, flashlights, candles, phones with flashlights on them, everything. So thank God technology works for my fear. I don't know what it can do for yours. Maybe you need one of those motorcycle suits that puff up when you land.
That's a good idea. I could live my life in one of those Zorbs or hamster wheels.
Exactly. Although I'm pretty sure somebody would figure out something. Let's talk a little bit today. So today it's just you and I, and we are recording on Wednesday, February the 19th. We publish in about 2 weeks. On Wednesdays, I am now wearing my Wednesday Woman sweatshirt because if you missed it, the Wednesday Woman did an entire series on women and privacy. All around Global Data Privacy, Data Protection Day, they highlighted think they highlighted on their page about 15 women, and then Osano did a post with 75 women in privacy on it. A lot of the names I'm sure you absolutely do recognize from all over the world. So that's my Wednesday women pitch right there.
Like, I have a tradition on Wednesdays myself, and I wear pink in honor of legally of Mean Girls. I was going to say Legally Blonde there, but there's a lot of pink in Legally Blonde, but Mean Girls.
I love it, and I should actually take a picture of us on here and do it and post it. So we might hold on. Let's see if we can't get all of our logos and our pink in here and take a picture. Let's see if I can actually do a print screen. There we go. Okay, beautiful. That's actually fascinating. A small trivia point about Legally Blonde is it was based off my law school.
Wow!
Yeah. I went to Arizona State University, the Sandra Day O'Connor College of Law, and Legally Blonde came out my first year in law school. And it was interesting because are you a lawyer, Joe?
A recovering one, yeah.
Okay, there we go. In the movie, when we were watching and she got a 179 at the LSAT, I was like, "Bush." My children are like, calm down, Mom. Calm down. It's okay. I'm like, oh, wow. And then as I watched the movie, there was a female professor who was a Civ Pro professor, reminded me of my current Civ Pro professor. And it turns out, weirdly enough, the character was based on mine. I didn't know that for probably another 6-8 years. But the author's father was a professor there or something, and I don't know the entire story. She used to come speak at the law school and give the background story. But go figure, you think you recognize a professor in the movies, and funny enough, it is your professor.
Wow.
How weird. Okay, so let's talk about privacy. How did you get into privacy? If you're a recovering lawyer, what brought you here?
Like so many people in our field, I got to it through a bit of serendipity and good luck, a bit of happenstance, and a bit of nobody else wanting to do the work and me putting my hand to do it.
We know how that goes, yeah.
I was working, qualified as a lawyer solicitor in London. And I really distinctly remember the draft GDPR.
Oh, yeah.
And a number of clients wanting to know, what is this? What's in it? I was very deep into the trilog process, the 4-column grid, what the 3 positions were and where the compromise might be. I started to live and breathe that increasingly. Nice. I was a tech lawyer.
Okay.
I was this broad...
a natural flow into that. Okay.
Tech lawyer with a passion for intellectual property. And I suppose many of those individuals got mischaracterized or buckled in were, IP, that's the same as privacy, surely. And started to do a lot of work on that and loved it. I got very into it. I love politics, geopolitics, foreign policy. Could immediately start to see how that angle framed a lot of these issues.
Yeah.
And then in about 2015 and 2016 were really seminal moments in my career. I remember 2015 was the year where I was very deeply involved in the Schrems 1. Of course, we didn't call it Schrems 1 then. It was just Schrems.
We thought it was one and done, right?
Yeah, it was
silly
like the first Star Wars film. We didn't know that was a prequel or part of a trilogy. It was just Star Wars. So I was quite deeply involved in that. And started to build a bit of a practice on international trade law.
Okay, I can see that.
And then fast forward 2016, the UK votes to leave the EU, and data flows, data transfers, Brexit, UK leaving the EU, UK relationship with other countries, all of that suddenly felt in vogue.
Yeah.
And I was very happy in law, very happy in legal practice. And the UK government suddenly had all this responsibility, all of these questions, all of these risks and opportunities to manage. They were looking for people who had niche areas of practice that might come in handy.
Might come in handy, right?
I was one such person, and I joined government ostensibly for a few months secondment.
Okay.
I loved it. I loved the work. I dare say I loved the dysfunction and the drama of it all.
You're allowed to say that.
And it for longer than a few months. I left the law practice. I joined as a civil servant and had a great time working on policy, deployment, national security issues, all of that. Loved it. And eventually I don't want to say grew tired of it, but as we all know, Brexit went on a bit. And politics.
People are still arguing about it. If Ralph was here, we'd hear about it. Trust me.
We're still arguing about it. Still lots of unresolved questions and issues. And this amazing opportunity came up with the IPP. And it's how I ended up here.
Oh, that's fascinating. A lot of us tell stories about how we came to the IAPP. I assume that you were a member of IAPP before you came to work, right? Okay. How long have you been a member?
Oh, my goodness. I would say for more than maybe, 15 years, maybe?
Okay, that sounds about the right time. I had Ron De Jesus on here as well.
Yep.
Oh, gosh. Is his name De Jesus or De Jesus?
De Jesus, I think.
Okay, that's what I thought. I'll leave that in. But I've never actually said his name out loud before. There we go. So he and I were talking, and it turns out we came from very similar backgrounds and have been members of IAPP, both of us, back since it only had 3,000 members in it. And so you're right there in that cadre with us, right? You would think we would all know each other. We don't. If it was a village of 3,000 people, we'd be eating out of each other's kitchen, which I guess in some way we do. So that is fascinating. And so IAPP, when you joined, they required you to move to the U.S. or you wanted to?
I wanted to. I was dazzled by coming to New England in the summer.
Oh, yeah.
Sunshine, beautiful beaches, lobster.
The fall. Oh, my gosh.
As you mentioned, we're recording this in the middle of February, so it's not quite like that. Well,
not quite.
I had never shoveled snow before in my life, but...
Oh, wow. I've never shoveled...
I don't have cruise to down where you are.
No, it's barely coming down in just little... Hold on, let me raise the window. Nope, it stopped now. It just come down in these snow little flakes, but I grew up in Mississippi and then I moved to Arizona mainly and California. And so I've never had a lot of snow. I've never been in these massive 3-foot, 6-foot, 12-foot drifts that people do tunnels through. Have you had that since you've been here?
We have, just this weekend. And it's quite...
Just a weekend right now.
Yeah, right now. It looks like Narnia. It's beautiful to look at from the sanctity and warmth of one's own home.
I like that.
It's quite hard for someone with leather-soled shoes in central London to be walking around in, but I'm acclimatizing, I'm adjusting, I love it. I've worked for a long time on transatlantic issues, so
nice.
All here is a great privilege and joy. I'm a data transfer myself, so that's always try to work on facilitating.
The personification of a data transfer. I like it.
More than adequate. It's been more than adequate.
So as you look around our fabulous industry here, what scares you? Let's go back to the unexpected question. What scares you most about where you see privacy going or data protection? We can roll them both in. We're good here.
Yeah. What scares me? I distinctly remember the moment or singular, maybe there are a few instances when our issues were propelled into prominence at a political level. So I remember when Shinzo Abe at the G7, the former late Prime Minister of Japan, coined the term data free flow with trust.
Yeah.
I can remember hearing the sort of first State of the Union speech in the United States from President Obama that talked about the need for a federal privacy law. I can recall the handshakes between Biden and von der Leyen on the data privacy framework.
Yep.
And I remember what a boost it was for our profession. Many of us have worked in the sort of backstage quietly. We've been mischaracterized, a quarter regulatory compliance, departments of no and slow. And these were hugely significant moments. I remember dragging my wife to watch the news to hear Biden and von der Leyen say that they struck an agreement on data flows. And
my husband's glad I did not drag him. He's in IT. He gets enough of it.
And I think this is all coming full circle in a way that should give us pause for thought and concern.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we've become victims of our own success in raising the prominence and upping the stakes of our issues, but politics comes and goes and it changes and it gets bigger. And the fact that our issues are on the desks of heads of state, yes, it gives us prominence, but it also comes with volatility and unpredictability. And I think we're experiencing this and we're going to experience this for some time, that when privacy issues and data protection issues on the desk of heads of state, it's going to be seen through the prism of geopolitics, through the prism of competitiveness. Of course, tariffs are in the news all the time now. I don't think it's a long walk from tariffs to data transfer, data transfers to restrictions on the flow of data, use of data to fire up the algorithms for the AI industrial revolution. These are all issues that doesn't scare me, but I think these are big issues, questions, new skills for our profession to adapt to that gives it new vibrancy and new life in ways that I think will be very challenging for lots of us. There'll be many in the field that will relish the opportunity to work on issues with this extra firepower, but it will be very challenging for others as well.
Agreed. And we now have new attorneys, not just attorneys, as we've always advocated. You don't have to be a lawyer to be a data privacy or data protection professional. Funny enough, my DPO actually used to work for the Labor Party.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I love that. I'm not sure he loves it, but I love it. I thought that was pretty fascinating. But now we've got new lawyers, new professionals coming out that actually want their profession to be as a privacy lawyer, a privacy officer, a data protection officer, which I think is highly weird, right? How do you go into something and say, yeah, I want to do this, but now that's where we are. This is a deliberate career. What do you recommend that they need to learn in their skill set? So if we're having to build new skills, what do they need?
I think the same is true for them. I think just because someone might be entering the profession that looks established as a privacy profession, and that feels quite alien to maybe you or I.
It does, right?
Right. Just because there may be kids at schools, at colleges, where the privacy profession is talked to careers, is talked about as a clear, distinct, credible profession to go down, legal, compliance, consultancy, lots of disciplines in that profession.
Yes.
I would say I would still view it as a dynamic and one that requires versatility. In the relatively short history of the profession, it's expanded. It's really been so dynamic and it's changed. It's taken on, for good reason, extra responsibility. Look at how many privacy professionals are doing AI governance.
Right.
How many privacy and cybersecurity officers there are. How many people are double hatting, being tasked with have extra responsibility for broader digital policy, digital governance, broader enterprise risk work. And so I think my advice would be, you're going into something that might look and feel well established, and to a large extent it is.
But it's like that external hard candy shell, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love a candy analogy. Yes. Yes. It's more gummy variety.
It's more gummy here. I get it. You don't want your gummy to have a hard shell. That's just weird.
No, it's too restrictive. This is more flexible.
It is. I agree.
I think to be prepared to working on all those other issues is really exciting.
It really is. And would you recommend that they have, here in the U.S., it would be an undergraduate degree. For y'all, it might be more of a field of study as you go into law. Because here, we don't get a bachelor's in law. We have to get a bachelor's in something, and then we go to law school for 3 years, mostly 3 years. Would you recommend that their background come from any particular field? As justice studies, social work, psychology, philosophy, marketing, technology? I came from nursing. What is there a field you think rolls well into here?
Look, I think one of the beauties of our profession and sort of the magic of it is that multidisciplinary background that everyone brings to it. I've worked with very technical engineers, social scientists. Yes, there's lots of lawyers, political scientists, and we all bring different flavors to it. And of course, that makes sense because data, personal data, these issues are human issues, they're socioeconomic issues. They attract regulation, they attract consumer expectation. There are just so many lenses that you can view these issues through. I actually think a field of study that we don't celebrate enough in our community is the social studies, the social history, the societal impact, the anthropological, the sort of social awareness and cultural context of our issues.
Wouldn't that be fascinating?
Yeah, I just think the cultural context, the humility. I think as global organizations navigating privacy laws around the world, yes, you have the law as it's written, but you have the law as it is on the ground. You have the practice. Consumer expectations vary enormously. Everything is situated in a context, and context is everything. And understanding all of that is going to be so important.
Funny enough, on the last episode, by the time this one's published, it'll be the last one, we talked about how there is a new career field for people who translate privacy notices and privacy policies into local languages, and how that's a new career field because you can't do a one-by-one. It's all very culturally contextual.
Yeah.
And so rolling that in, so I find it fascinating you say that. My undergrad was in psychology. I did my bachelor's, realized I couldn't make any money in psychology, so I went to nursing school. So my bachelor's is in psychology and business administration. So to me, that resonates very well and something I had never really thought about. Interesting. Okay. Anything happening in the news lately that has you excited?
Is there anything happening in the news full stop? I don't know.
I guess it's more about the news of what's not happening, right? Oh, gosh, help us.
Anything in the news is having me excited. Look, I don't know if excitement is the right word, but I do think there is this moment, and we saw this at the Paris AI Action Summit. There is this moment where policymakers, lawmakers, on the one side of the screen, asking themselves, have we gone too far, too fast with respect to regulation? And what's the right speed and the right extent to which we need to do this because of the competing or the perceived competing, conflicting tension between innovation and safety or responsible use? Or say why I don't think that is always in tension, because I think that's too trite a way of characterizing it. So on the one hand, we've got this navel gazing from very senior political leaders, policymakers. I think the Draghi report in the European Union turbocharged a lot of that. Of course, Vice President Vance's comments at the Safety Summit sort of compound a lot of that. And then on the other hand, on the other side of the split screen, we have the people that are doing the work in organizations that are, whilst there's that political noise and rhetoric, there are people who have day jobs and they turn up work and they are tasked with complying with laws or navigating the laws that they think they have to comply with and trying to comply with those. And there's considerable complexity. There's a lot of overlapping laws. There are a lot of laws that have gaps between them. And crucially, there are laws that have conflicts. And so their day jobs is trying to reconcile and cohere that and build a response to that for an organization. And they have customers, they have users, they have ecosystems they operate in where trust, safety, responsible use of technology, good privacy, that is valuable. Crudely, it sells. It's good business. And they have to work with that. And I think one of the things that's really interesting is how these two conversations, development are happening in tandem. And it reminds me a little bit about the UK, which is at the moment going through the process of reforming the GDPR, wants to, in its words, cut red tape, make lives easier, make things simpler. And meanwhile, organizations have already integrated, got used to the GDPR.
Yeah.
And you have this question around, is it better to work with something that is perceived to be cumbersome, say, but is known?
Right.
Compared to something that is unknown, but is perhaps less cumbersome. And how do you trade those off? We don't know how these political conversations will shake out.
Right.
But we do know the reality of the day, which is what most privacy professionals, digital policy, digital governance professionals are working through day in, day out.
Oh, absolutely. And I remember when the GDPR went live, actually, Ralph and I met. Now, Paul was a few years later. Ralph and I met because I went to work for TrustArc and was helping companies build their GDPR program starting in, I guess it was 2015. I started looking at few consistent 100-hour weeks for the next 2 years. It was interesting. But anyway, so yeah, coming up from that, you're right. Is it better the devil? We know the UK is generally perceived as more U.S. friendly. I'm not going to say always, but generally they're very business oriented, very pragmatic. We could generally work with them. If they come out with a revised GDPR that incorporates, they already have incorporated the Data Privacy Act, different things like that. Is that better? Is it better the devil or is it better your friend?
Yeah. And look, I think we're in an era where not all actions policymakers take have a consistent through line.
That we're seeing right now, aren't we?
Yeah.
Not consistent from day to day, much less. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Policymakers want growth, hear that a lot, growth and innovation. And so, yes, the UK is a good example. GDPR reforms on the one hand, geared towards growth. And then we heard the news or the leaks and the reported news of the UK Home Office issuing an order on Apple to decrypt encrypted data.
Yeah.
And that's something that a lot of the big tech companies have quite profound disagreements and concerns with. And there are these disconnects, there are these tensions.
Yeah. Tensions is a good way of calling it. Yeah.
Yeah. And we think of these, we're guilty of thinking these often in a digital policy, digital regulation context. But when you broaden your aperture and you've got national security, even issues like tax or workforce and labor laws, it's a complex, broad picture. So
it is
to manage.
And here in the U.S., I just read last week there was a bunch of state attorneys general that filed a lawsuit about 19 attorneys general suing the Trump administration to halt access to Americans' private data through their access through the Department of Government Efficiency, the Office of Management and Budget, all of this that they're accessing the data. So I think that personifies what you're saying here. When you start looking at a bigger picture, privacy touches everything.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Well, is there anything else you would like to share with us? I promised you we try to stick around 30 minutes. When we go much longer than that, our fans start saying they can't walk the dog for 45 minutes. They can't run. They can't run for an hour. So we promised we try to stick it around 30 minutes. Anything you wanted to make sure that you share before I let you go?
I think that we talked about the big geopolitics, the need to have a broadened aperture, the sort of vibrancy with which we see all this great variety in policymaking and lawmaking. We all have different views on it. It's all quite lots of tensions. I think the thing we are at risk of forgetting, and that I think our field has a really important, powerful role to play in, is reminding one another, reminding our peers, reminding our seniors in organizations, companies, policymakers, regulators, that it's people that get stuff done. That you want technology that's integrated and implemented and utilized safely, responsibly. Yeah, laws do set out the parameters and the rules of the road, but it's the people that work that. And so I think it's a call to not lose sight of the very human, very professional component to getting this done. And it's both
I love it.
Innovation, it's safety, it's compliance, it's responsible use. But we can often zoom into the law or zoom into the tech and not think about the very human through line for all of that.
Oh, that's simply brilliant. That absolutely is. And it's a great note to end the session on.
That was Serious Privacy.
This wraps up our podcast for this week. Please do share the episode with your friends and colleagues because we love to get more listeners. And join the conversation on LinkedIn or on Blue Sky. You'll find us under Serious Privacy on both platforms. You'll find Kay as Heart of Privacy, Ralph as IGR O'Brien, and myself as Europol B. Until next week, goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye, y'all.
If you're a data protection or privacy professional, you already know the pressure. Non-stop regulatory change, AI oversight, internal demands, and the expectation to somehow stay ahead of it all. And the old patchwork of tools just isn't cutting it anymore.
No. That's why TrustArc created a modern privacy management platform powered by Arc Intelligence. The TrustArc platform brings your workflows, evidence, research, tasks, and applications all together in one unified and intelligent workspace so you don't waste time digging. clicking, or context switching.
With Ask Arc, your privacy assistant, you can ask plain language questions about laws, jurisdictions, or even your own program data and get credible, cited answers based on NIMBY research and more than 1,000 global laws. It's explainable, transparent, and purpose-built for data protection and privacy.
So if you need to add a vendor, create a cookie banner, or start an assessment, quick actions take formally complex tasks, turn them into bite-sized guided workflows to save you time.
It's a platform that thinks like you, works like you, and helps you move faster with confidence, whether you're a seasoned DPO or you're just getting started.
See how modern privacy gets done. Explore Arc at trustarc.com/serious-privacy. That's trustarc.com/serious-privacy.